Hey, it's Jack. Welcome back to the dark side of YouTube. This is where stories get weird, where things that shouldn't happen do. I don't do clickbait. I dig deeper, into files lost in time, footage that was never supposed to be seen, and secrets that governments pretend don't exist. And tonight's mystery? Let's just say, by the end, you'll be watching shadows a little differently. So turn down the lights, put on your headphones. This one's not just strange, it's personal. Tonight's case, it'll crawl under your skin and stay there. Okay, everyone, find a quiet place, somewhere you can truly listen. Because tonight, we're talking about a sound. Not a sound you hear with your ears, not usually. A vibration, a resonance, a low, persistent rumble that some people in certain places around the world have been hearing, or more accurately, feeling for decades. A sound with no identifiable source, no clear explanation. A global mystery known simply as the hum. Reports of the hum have come from all corners of the planet. Taos, New Mexico, Bristol, England, Largs, Scotland, Windsor, Ontario, Auckland, New Zealand. People describe it differently. A distant diesel engine, a low-flying aircraft, a deep, resonant vibration emanating from the earth or the air itself. For many, it's a source of intense annoyance, even physical distress, headaches, nausea, difficulty sleeping. For others, it's a terrifying, constant reminder that something fundamental about our reality is off. Governments and official bodies have investigated, deploying sensitive acoustic equipment, but they find nothing. Or rather, they find the low-frequency vibration, but they can't pinpoint its origin. It doesn't seem to come from power lines, industrial activity, or natural seismic events. It's just there. A global chorus of a sound. That shouldn't exist. This is where our story begins. With Dr. Evelyn Reed, an independent acoustician and data scientist. Dr. Reed wasn't initially focused on the hum. She was studying natural earth resonances, the subtle vibrations of the planet itself, recorded by sensitive seismic and acoustic arrays around the world. She was looking for patterns, for how the Earth sings in response to tidal forces, atmospheric pressure, and seismic activity. But as she analyzed vast data sets of low-frequency audio recordings from geographically diverse locations, from deep ocean hydrophones to remote seismic stations, she started noticing something else. Interspersed with the natural Earth sounds, there was a persistent, artificial-seeming signal. A low, complex harmonic resonance. It wasn't present in all recordings, but in a significant number, particularly those from areas where people reported hearing the hum. Dr. Reed, driven by scientific curiosity, began to isolate this signal. It wasn't a simple tone. It was a complex pattern of low frequencies, subtly shifting, layered with subharmonics and overtones that gave it a strange, almost structured quality. It sounded less like a random vibration and more like deliberate sound, or perhaps deliberate data encoded within sound. She spent months analyzing the pattern, using advanced signal processing techniques, filtering out known sources of noise. She found consistency. The structure of the signal was the same, regardless of whether it was recorded in New Mexico or New Zealand. The intensity varied, and it seemed to be more prevalent at night, but the underlying harmonic pattern was constant. This wasn't natural. This was artificial, or perhaps something that mimicked artificiality, but on a scale that defied human origin. Dr. Reed reached out to colleagues presenting her findings. Most were intrigued by the technical analysis, but remained skeptical of the implications. An artificial signal embedded in Earth's natural resonance? It sounded far-fetched. But then, she connected with Ben Carter. His expertise in pattern recognition is becoming indispensable in these stories of global anomalies. Ben, with his experience analyzing everything from the Tunguska energy signature to the language of the Zanj, recognized something in the structure of the hum's harmonic pattern. It wasn't a language, not in the human sense, but it had a complex, non-random structure that suggested intelligence, or at least a highly ordered process. It resonated with some of the abstract mathematical principles he had encountered in the symbols from the Third Eye manuscript and the energy patterns from the Vimana vault. Dr. Reed and Ben Carter, working together, began to cross-reference the locations where the strongest hum signals were recorded with geological data. They overlaid their hum signal map with maps of global seismic activity, volcanic hotspots, and, crucially, major geological fault lines, the fractures in the Earth's crust. The correlation was chillingly precise. The areas with the strongest hum signals, the locations where people most consistently reported hearing or feeling the vibration, lay directly along or in close proximity to the planet's most active and deepest fault lines. It was as if the hum was emanating from or traveling along the Earth's geological nervous system. This led to Dr. Reed's daring, almost spiritual hypothesis. What if the hum isn't just a sound? What if it's the Earth itself? What if the planet is communicating, or perhaps signaling distress? She theorized that the hum was a form of geomantic communication, a low-frequency resonance generated by the Earth's core or its deep mantle, using the planet's fault lines as waveguides, transmitting a message coded within the harmonic structure of the vibration, a message about its internal state, about pressures building, about changes occurring deep beneath the surface. This resonated with ancient myths and indigenous beliefs about the Earth being a living entity, about mountains and rivers having spirits, about listening to the whispers of the land. Was the hum a modern manifestation of that ancient wisdom, a signal we had become too disconnected to understand? The arrival element came into play. If this was communication, what was the language? Could they decode it? Could they understand what the Earth was trying to say? Dr. Reed and Ben Carter dedicated themselves to this impossible task, analyzing the complex harmonics, looking for repeating sequences, for variations that might indicate meaning. The annihilation element was a quiet dread beneath their work. If the hum was a distress signal, what was the distress? Was the Earth facing some kind of internal collapse? Was something happening to its core, its magnetic field, something that threatened the entire planet? Was the hum a warning of impending environmental catastrophe on a global scale? The Magnus Archives horror wasn't overt, but insidious. The nature of the sound itself. People reported not just hearing it, but feeling it in their bones, their teeth, their very consciousness. Some experienced unsettling psychological effects, heightened anxiety, a sense of impending doom, even auditory hallucinations layered with the hum. Was the vibration itself carrying something more than just sound? Was it a form of energy, of information, of influence, capable of affecting the human mind directly? Was it the Earth's voice, or the voice of something else? Something ancient and vast, speaking through the Earth? Was it just a distress signal? Or was it a lament? Or even a command? As Dr. Reed and Ben Carter delved deeper into the structure of the hum, they found patterns that defied terrestrial explanation. Sequences that seemed to resonate with cosmic frequencies, with the kind of signals one might expect from pulsars or distant stellar events. It hinted that the hum might not just be the Earth communicating with itself, but the Earth communicating with something else, something in the cosmos, or receiving a signal from the cosmos and relaying it through its own structure. Professor Volkov joined their team, bringing his knowledge of ancient texts and global mythologies. He found recurring themes in creation myths and apocalyptic legends from cultures around the world. Descriptions of the Earth groaning, of sounds emanating from beneath the ground before periods of great change or destruction, of celestial events coinciding with terrestrial turmoil. Were these ancient interpretations of the hum? Were our ancestors more attuned to the earth's voice than we are? Their work began to draw attention, not just from the scientific community, but from less desirable corners. Governments who had dismissed the hum publicly were, they suspected, monitoring their research. Whispers of classified projects, of attempts to understand or even manipulate the hum, began to surface. Was this a global phenomenon, or was it a secret being actively managed by those in power? The pressure mounted. The mystery deepened. Dr. Reed felt a growing connection to the hum, not just intellectually, but almost intuitively. She would find herself humming low, resonant tones subconsciously, her dreams filled with images of swirling molten rock and vast echoing chambers within the earth. The OA vibe, a sense of a hidden reality, a deeper truth, accessible through intuition and connection, perhaps even through sound itself. They were racing against time, trying to understand the message, if there was one. Was the hum a warning they could decipher and act upon? Or was it simply a process they could only observe? And then came the twist. Sudden, absolute, and terrifying. In early December, the hum stopped. Globally. Simultaneously. One day people were reporting the persistent rumble. The next, silence. Acoustic sensors around the world registered a sudden, inexplicable cessation of the low-frequency vibration. It was as if the earth had simply stopped singing. The silence was more unsettling than the sound had ever been. And almost immediately after the hum ceased, a global geomagnetic event began. Earth's magnetic field, that invisible shield that protects us from solar radiation, began to fluctuate wildly. Compass needles spun erratically. Migratory animals became disoriented. Satellite communications were disrupted on an unprecedented scale. Power grids experienced surges and outages. The northern and southern lights appeared in latitudes they had never been seen before, swirling across the sky in terrifying, unpredictable patterns. The Earth's magnetic field was weakening, shifting, behaving in ways that defied scientific models. And it coincided precisely with the cessation of the hum. The connection was undeniable. The hum wasn't just a sound. It was somehow intrinsically linked to the Earth's magnetic field, perhaps even to the dynamism of its core. Was the hum a byproduct of the core's activity, a sonic signature of the process that generated the magnetic field? Or was it something more active? Was the hum somehow stabilizing the core? Was it a form of energy transfer, a resonant frequency that kept the internal processes in balance? The terrifying implication of the twist: the hum wasn't a distress signal. It was a necessary function. And when it stopped, the Earth's internal equilibrium was disrupted, leading to the geomagnetic chaos. But why did it stop? Did the Earth complete its message? Did the internal process that generated the hum cease? Or was it silenced? Was something or someone responsible for turning off the hum? The annihilation horror returned with full force. The geomagnetic event wasn't just a natural disaster. It felt like a fundamental shift in the planet, a symptom of a deeper, potentially irreversible change. The sky glowed with unsettling light. The air crackled with static. The very ground beneath their feet felt unstable. It was as if the earth was undergoing a terrifying transformation, and the hum was the sound of its previous, stable state. The Magnus Archives element became chillingly clear. If the hum was connected to the Earth's core and magnetic field, and if it carried a structured, almost intelligent pattern, was the core itself more than just molten metal? Was it inhabited? Influenced? Was the hum the voice of something vast, ancient, and now silent? And was the geomagnetic chaos the result of that entity either leaving or being silenced, or perhaps changing. Dr. Reed, Ben Carter, and Professor Volkov, witnessing the global chaos unfold, understood the horrifying truth. They hadn't just been studying a sound, they had been studying the Earth's vital signs, and those signs had flatlined. The pattern in the hum, the correlation with the fault lines, the potential link to cosmic frequencies. Was it a message to something, or a communication from something that resided within the Earth, using its magnetic field as a conduit, its crust as a sounding board? The fate of humanity was now inextricably linked to a sound that had stopped, and a geomagnetic field that was failing. The distress signal might have been our interpretation of a fundamental process that was now ending. The world grappled with the geomagnetic chaos. Scientists worked frantically, trying to understand the unprecedented behavior of the magnetic field. Governments struggled to maintain infrastructure and communication, and those who had heard the hum sufferers, reported a new, terrifying sensation. Not a sound, but a profound emptiness, a void where the vibration used to be, coupled with a heightened sense of unease and disorientation. The terrifying speculation mounts. Was the hum a form of planetary healing, a resonant frequency that kept the Earth's core stable? Was it a communication between the Earth and other celestial bodies, a cosmic song that maintained some kind of universal balance? Or was it a form of containment? A sonic prison keeping something vast and ancient locked within the Earth's core, and now that prison had been breached? The cessation of the hum and the subsequent geomagnetic event are the greatest mysteries of our time. Dr. Reed, Ben Carter, and Professor Volkov continue their research, desperately trying to decipher the data they collected, looking for clues about why the hum stopped and what the geomagnetic chaos truly signifies. They are looking for the meaning of the choir below, the symphony that has fallen silent. The hum wasn't just a sound, it was a connection, and that connection has been severed. The Earth is no longer singing, and the silence might be the most terrifying sound of all, because it means whatever was making the sound is gone, or worse, it's free. The investigation continues, but the questions are no longer about the source of the sound. They are about the nature of the silence, and what or who was composing the symphony in the first place. Sleep well, if you can feel the ground vibrating beneath you, because if the vibration stops, we might all be listening to the sound of the end of the world. The choir below has gone silent, and the Earth is screaming in its place. This story was just a glimpse into the strange realities I explore. There are countless other mysteries out there waiting to be revealed, and I'm dedicated to finding them. But with the kind of topics we cover, sometimes you just can't predict what the future holds. So, to guarantee you're always in the loop, to make sure you catch every unsettling discovery I bring to you, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Don't risk missing out. You might not get another chance.